I want to thank the witnesses that are here today, and members of the Sentencing Commission, I believe, are also in attendance. Thank you for joining us. This hearing, 5 years of the First Step Act, reimagining rehabilitation and protecting public safety, is long overdue. Today, the committee will hear from four witnesses about the success of the First Step Act. It is the most significant criminal justice reform legislation in a generation. I want to thank Ranking Member Graham and his staff for working with us to select today's witnesses. It echoes the bipartisan spirit of cooperation that led to the enactment of this landmark legislation. I also want to thank everyone who has joined us today, including the U.S. Sentencing Commission Chair, Judge Carlton Reeves, and his colleagues who've been hard at work updating the federal sentencing guidelines to reflect the First Steps reform. Last month marked the 5th anniversary of Congress coming together and passing the First Step Act by an overwhelming bipartisan majority in both the House and the Senate. At the outset, I'll turn to a video about the passage and the impact it's had.
A criminal justice reform bill
has been agreed to.
The Senate vote came Tuesday night. In a rare show of bipartisanship, senators voted 87-12 to approve the First Step Act.
People are coming home to be with their loved ones, to find jobs, to find housing, and to hopefully succeed as contributing members of society.
Matthew Charles is believed to be the first person freed from prison because of the First Step Act. How does freedom feel?
Freedom feels wonderful. Encouragement is greatly welcomed. So I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful that God is in my life. I'm thankful that people are able to see that I have changed, and it is a example of a redemption story, so that others that have changed will also be able to benefit from the change they made as well.
I was proud to champion this landmark legislation, and I want to give special credit to Senator Grassley, who couldn't be here today. He's not feeling well, but he was a real leader on this effort. It was signed into law by President Trump. It was truly bipartisan from the start. It included support with Senator Grassley, as I mentioned, Senator Booker, Senator Lee, Senator Whitehouse, and Senator Cornyn. Those two individuals are with us here this morning. It acknowledges the obvious. The vast majority of people who are incarcerated will one day be released, so we should help prepare them for successful reentry. In the last 5 years, this landmark legislation has reduced the population in our overcrowded federal prisons safely and effectively, reuniting families and revitalizing communities. In addition to looking toward the future, the First Step Act helps to remedy the effects of the harsh and misguided drug sentencing laws from the 1980s. I remember that era very well. I was a member of the House of Representatives. The arrival of crack cocaine scared the hell out of us. We decided to impose new sentencing guidelines, which would make it clear to the public once and for all that if you do crack cocaine, we're going to hit you and hit you hard. We sure as hell did. 100-to-1 disparity in sentencing between powder cocaine and crack cocaine. The net result of it all, sadly, was not what we'd hoped for. The price of crack cocaine on the street went down instead of up. The number of users went up instead of down, and we had the largest federal prison population in the history of the United States, predominantly African Americans who were convicted of those crimes. The sentences were astronomical. What used to be a matter of a handful of years turned into 10, 15, 20, 25, and beyond. That was the reality of the situation that we faced when we started talking about reforming the situation. The First Step Act helps to remedy the effects of those sentencing laws in the 1980s. I authored legislation, the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010, that reduced the disparity of 100-to-1 between crack and powder to 18. It's a long story as to how we came up with that magic number, but that was the number we had to live with. The First Step Act makes Fair Sentencing Act retroactive, allowing those still serving sentences under the disparity to petition for resentencing. I'm thankful for the tireless efforts of many dedicated advocates and families who never gave up hope that this bill could become law. Since the First Step Act's passage, I've met so many Americans who've successfully returned home because of this historic legislation. Some would still be in prison today if Congress had not passed the First Step Act and President Trump had not signed it. Today, we'll hear from one of them, one of our witnesses, Matthew Charles. I told him he was the star of the show after that video. I'm glad you're here, Mr. Charles. The First Step Act has been quite a success. Of almost 30,000 people released under its reforms through January 2023, only 12.4% have been arrested for new crimes. Compare that to Bureau of Prisons' overall recidivism rate, more than 3 times that number, 43%. Even with this legislation's achievement in reducing recidivism, we must remember that it is indeed a first step in a long journey toward thinking about rethinking rehabilitation and reversing failed approaches in our criminal justice system. In order to make our system fair, we must continue to learn the proven successes, smart on crime policies like the First Step Act. We must provide more opportunities for those who were incarcerated to reenter society successfully, reunite with their families, and contribute to their communities. Now, make no mistake, as much as I believe in what we've done and would do it all over again, there have been some of these situations where people have been released and broken my heart. I thought we had got them on the right path, but it didn't happen. We can't give up on so many who are going to be successful in reuniting with families and rehabilitating their lives because of those few, but I think of them as well. 5 years ago, we wrote the blueprint for reimagining rehabilitation and protecting public safety, and we know by the numbers that it works. Today, I'm looking forward to reflecting on what we can achieve moving forward.